In 1975, French chamber rock band Zeuhl released their third album, Shekina, on RCA Victor, and from it, the track Zohar. Okay, and that was Zeuhl with Zohar, and that track was written by Y.Seffer, and this particular album has a surprise that I'll get to that in the notes. Anyway, it began in this like bass Rhodes ostinato in C minor with emphasis on the low fifth, as in the low G. And they were soon joined by composer Y.Seffer on soprano sax. And this kind of went on for a bit, cut through with ever more hyperactive drums, especially the tom rolls over the rising chromatic bridges. And then suddenly everything broke at around 2:20 for the string section. Quatuor Margand, a female four-piece. The term Zawetz kind of went through my head for a minute there, but we have a more official name for them. And they were giving us some chilling, very nervous violin and cello interaction. You'd have like these nervous violin notes over this really like dark, sinister, foreboding cello. An emphasis on dull notes, minor keys. And that went on for a couple of minutes there, and then through a few passages, and then the string section concluded, it seemed, around by doing their own variation of the main theme heard at the beginning. Yeah, after going through some passages of their own. And then a new ostinato suddenly took over at around 5:05. This one, basically a bass figure over this kind of jerky drum pattern in 7/8. Like it was going like G, 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 B flat like that, with this echoing Rhodes effect. And at this point in the track, François Faton F.Cahen, yes, started to assert himself more, moving around the ostinato pattern, dropping oily, glistening Fender Rhodes sounds. And as this went on, the drumming added more emphasis and urgency, and F.Cahen started to get blockier, and the pattern continued for a few minutes until the original theme re-entered at around 8:55. And then Seffer reasserted himself with this tight thematic accent on the theme, which stretched over like the 9-minute mark. And then finally, during the final 30 seconds, the string quartet started to interact with the band and brought things out to the conclusion. Yeah, Zeuhl, the French chamber rock band, on their third album, Shekina, released in 1975. And the lineup here, F.Cahen on keyboards, Seffer on saxophone, and bass, Gerald Prévost, percussion, Pierre, Guignon, Boum. Quite a few of these guys have nicknames. And drums, Jean Mai Truong. And the Quatuor Margand string quartet, comprised of cellist Claudine, Lassere, viola player François Duchette, and violinists Mary François Viaud and Michel Margand. Yes, Zeuhl comprised of once and future Magma players, and put out 5 albums between 1973 and 1977. And a very intense, very dark band that extended upon the Zeuhl stylistics that were introduced by Magma and took it into a more jazzy realm at times. elements and creating a lot of dark, abrupt, and at times ominous and alarming music, and very often a rewarding listen. I profiled a track from their 1976 release, Quatuor, last year, one of my favorite albums from that year, but all four of their albums are very great and highly recommended. And yeah, this one was unique among their releases in that they paired off with that female string quartet for further dimensions of their sound. And this album overall features 6 pieces, 4 written by Y.Seffer and 2 written by F.Cahen. And I actually profiled something by him last year, yeah, something from one of the, something from the album Thank You Friends that he recorded in collaboration with Didier Lockwood, who had been on the first few Zeuhl albums. Yeah, or, yeah, he was he wasn't on this Zeuhl album, but he had been in the band at various junctures. Anyway, for more Rubies and Sapphires from the catalog of Zeuhl, see the directory of albums by French artists linked in the description below for red hot tracks and purples from all the Zeuhl albums, as well as many of the related acts such as Lockwood, Magma, F.Cahen, all the members' individual pursuits, and many other bands in the Zeuhl and chamber rock vein, such as like Pataphony and Wiedersee, who I've profiled on here, Dune. Yeah. Like and subscribe, follow me on social media, share the video, and leave a comment if there are any observations you have about the big piece we just heard, clocking in at over 10 minutes as it did. The layers, the interplay, the composition, the interaction between string quartet and band. Yeah, it was the most compelling section, the most intense. And until next time, this is Zaragon, the world's most ear travel maximalist, signing off.